Racing, Scuderia Ferrari Edition, the heart of the race.
Well, well, well. It's that time of the month again, ladies and gentlemen. And we are here for the 2019 Formula Sim Racing Academy Championship here from the Autodromo Nazionale Monza. So, I hope you're all having a good weekend, good week in general as well. We've got a nice short, well, I say short, it's Monza, every race is short around here. But a nice short race here tonight, and plenty of action ahead of us. The qualifying session finished a few minutes ago. Well, we say a few minutes, we obviously not that long ago. We've just been going through the warm-up session and looking at the race pace times. It's going to be pretty interesting to see, who is up the front and who's going to be able to fight, because we've seen this differ in wings and in top speed. But obviously, for once, I am joined finally, after a long enough period of time, by Felix van Delft, a very long friend of mine. So Felix, you finally managed to make it to an FSR broadcast.
Yeah, wow. It's been a bit of a hectic day so far. The game not exactly doing as I would have liked, but we're getting there. So our apologies for the slight delays here, but we'll be getting off to the race very, very shortly. Alex, would you like to quickly go through the qualifying? Because you saw it happening, obviously. What happened in the qualifying session?
Well, in the qualifying session, we saw actually a very nice gentleman's agreement grid. Everyone deciding that they weren't going to utilize slipstream around here, which has been a big talking point from Spa and Monza recently. And it's nice to see that the teams have been agreeing to that. So qualifying was done solely on driver ability and setup. And that meant that Zolt Sux ended up on pole for Netrex. Not something I thought I'd ever say on a low downforce circuit like this, but great to see the Netrex guys, back up the front again, seemingly strong here. Jan Vosnicker, second place on the grid, followed by Henry Sinnick, third for Drillers. Fourth is title leader Cas Reutveld. He comes into this race 24 points ahead of Jan. This race could be make or break for this title fight. And with Tom Lambert sat behind him in fifth, the Belgian needs to actually really get a move on and, get ahead and keep that points gap going, because it could be that, he doesn't manage to stay in this title fight for much longer. Michael Wilson sat there in sixth, followed by Indrek Remitz, Matthew Tucson, Milan Reshvik, Dan Overbranton, Adam Rainey, Giorgio Patala, Miguel San Mateo, Paulie Allen, Tommy Yelitalo, Balas Galliard, Niranjan Kumar, Edward Patala, Marco Ferlich, Thomas Lentz, Mike Almeida, Isaac Morris, Andrzej Boratowski, George Chatapantelis, Rafael Sebastian, Anton Skirichenko, Roy van Genderen, Jakub Karcevic, Danny Robbins, and Alex Hallows. The entirety of the grid. A few new names in that grid, and hopefully I got the Dutch name right there, Felix.
Yeah, could be worse. I've heard worse, so pretty decent for a non-Dutch speaker, obviously. Great to see such a full grid once again in the academy race. Just getting ready now for the start of this race. The lap of formations is almost done now, as the drivers are coming to the starting grid. Alex, shortly, what do you think is going to be the winning strategy here today? 33 laps, of course. 36.
32 laps.
32, wow, counting is difficult for me as well, but...
I know, Felix, it's amazing how many things have been relatively difficult today for us, but the strategy that's going to win here, easy one-stop, ultra-soft medium. End of story. Cameron was saying at Spa that he didn't want an easy strategy. Well, also Cameron, he comes and picks some mediums for Monza, the least tyre-wearing circuit on the calendar. But enough of that, because, well, we're about to get underway, Felix.
Yeah, overlay is not exactly working at the moment. Will be in a second. Should be.
But 5 lights are in the air. And we're away for the Italian Grand Prix, and it's a great start by Vosdika from the front row. It's going to be a smoking Netrex in the background, a couple of smoking cars, but Vosdika to the inside. It's going to be Kaz Reutfeld. Trying to have a look, follow his teammate through. There is a big crash in the background. That is multiple cars. That's 2 Royal Blues, a load of TCS offs. Car rejoining unsafe in the background. I think that was Rainey. I'm not sure, though. Almeida on his roof. A couple of cars without rear wings. There is a big crash, and this is what we were worried about coming into this race. Almeida already out, but up the front, Jan Vosdika looking to try and get past Alt6 to the inside of the Roja. Not going to work there. Kaz Reutfeld there, having a look as well. Cynic, Lombard's fifth still, but Reutfeld up into 3rd place already. He has got himself moving. That's what he needs to do to keep that title fight going and not lose any points to his teammate and title rival. Just trying to have a look at who was involved in that crash and how many of them have lost front wings. So, Paulie Allen was one of them. Miguel San Mateo has lost his rear wing. Kumar is out of the race, and Almeida's out of the race. So, I apologise. It wasn't Rainey. It was actually Paulie Allen. As we come towards the end of the first lap, the slipstreaming is underway, and I can see in the background that Adam Rainey is actually up into 10th. He's on the soft tyres now. That is going to work out really nicely, really weirdly for him, because maybe he can push that to the end. Maybe he can actually get a soft, ultra-soft strategy to work, especially with being, you know, that rubbering in track coming towards the end of the race. But everyone nice and stable at the moment. There's a couple of moves being made in the background because Thomas Lentz is trying to have a look at Balascaliar for 16th. And a couple of cars just trying to maneuver their way around. Anton Skirochenko having looked to the inside of Jacob Karjovic. But meanwhile, Tom Lomberts is trying to have a look at Henry Cynic, but it's not really working out for him at the moment, Felix.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult for him. Struggling in the early stages of this race. Obviously, still a long way to go, so people need to think about using the tires at the right moment. Obviously, Monza isn't the hardest track on tires, but still, if you burn them too quickly, you will lose a lot of exit speed out of the Lesmos and out of the chicanes, of course. As we see everybody slipstreaming now, the DRS will be enabled next lap. So I'm sure we'll see some overtaking being done very shortly. Everybody's still very close to each other. Our apologies, overlay isn't working at the moment. Let's hope it will in a second.
But either way, this lead fight at the top two slowly starting to seemingly pull a gap on the straights to Kaz Reutfeld at the moment. But nothing else really major happening, although Jared Patala is having a look to the inside of Brantham. Not going to work. He's going to have to back out of it. Although Danny Roberts with a very late dive on George Chantapantalis and gets the move done on the Netrex driver. Has to go on the gravel though, so he's going to be a bit wide and a bit slow off the corner, coming through Curva Grande. Be side by side. Chantapantalis trying to do a Sebastian Vettel move, but it's not going to work because that Royal Blue car is mighty quick. A straight line, and the dummy was thrown though, and almost threw an accident into the mix. The moves and the trains are going to come in. A lot of drivers probably running less fuel than normal, mainly because of that DRS train. We've seen it before. We saw it the whole of last year that DRS train was absolutely key in fuel conservation, and I really doubt that much has changed this year. But up the front, Zopsux defending for his life against Jan Vosdika. Kaz Reutfeld doing the same. Not really able to make a move yet, but as they come down towards the start-finish straight, see how defensive the Netrex goes. And Kaz Reutfeld actually doesn't have DRS on his teammates, so these guys are out with the 1 second window already. As it comes towards turn one, that's Lomberts with a dive on Henry Cynic into turn one. Oh, it's going to be contact. They're going to get through the corner, and Lombert's going to have to drive. That is Michael Wilson going across the anti-cut there. But Lombert's really trying to get past Cynic. He knows he needs to get past him early on. If he wants to make this strategy work out, he's going to go to the right. And he's going to outbrake him on the outside. Beautiful, but he's going to run slightly wide. He's over the curb. The car gets unsettled. And he's now going to have his teammate to deal with on the outside. Wilson, though, knows his teammate's fighting for a championship, so doesn't want to get too involved. But again, that DRS comes into action. And that Netrex is mighty quick in a straight line. They have really trimmed that car down for this race. And, you know, the one race they decide to, it works out perfectly. Or at least it is so far. Jan just not able to close up though. And maybe that's because Zux is using a bit more engine mixture, using a bit more engine boost to defend. Maybe it's just because that Netrex is mighty quick in a straight line today, Felix.
Yeah, the Netrex having a lot of top speed, even with the DRS open. Jan Mosnica isn't really closing in at all to Zux. Now, obviously, if he has a bit more downforce, you would expect him to be a bit quicker in the second sector, with obviously the Lesmo 1 and 2. But let's see what he's able to do. Coming into the Seconda Variante. Trying not to hit the curbs too hard. Obviously, will unsettle the car a bit and you will lose on the exit. This is the part where he should be gaining if he has more downforce. It doesn't seem to be a lot of gains to be made. Obviously, exit here very important as the DRS opens. You go downhill a little bit, so the speed picks up and picks up. Coming up to Ascari, obviously very fast left-hander first. Turning it in sharply. Trying to stay close to the curb. Hit the curb on the left, not too hard, because you will spin like we saw a certain German do. Now, getting very close. Parabolica, it's difficult to be so close coming into Parabolica, because you need the downforce of the front wing working. And in the dirty air, it's difficult to get the car turned in. Now, again, DRS will open here. I think he's a bit closer than he was the previous lap. But again, not closing in enough to really make a move.
Oh, Felix, meanwhile, at the back. Tom Lomberts to the inside of Henry Sinek. Pulled out. Sorry, I saw this in the background. Because this is obviously title implications, this is allowing Lomberts to close back up to the back of this train. And what that did, that was Lomberts switching right at the latest possible moment and getting that dive on the brakes. But as you said, Felix, sorry to cut you off again, though. But, you know, as you said, the DRS is not really helping Voznica much. Yeah,
seems so at the moment. Sinek is still very close to the driver in front of him, Tom Lombards. Lombards obviously trying to make that gap with DRS. Oh, he doesn't have the DRS actually from Rietveld in front of him, so that will be hurting him. Sinek closing in further and further.
Definitely, indeed, and just down on that back straight towards Parabolica, lost a lot of time. So no potential move anywhere near towards turn 1. Everyone's sort of just in their own little area at the moment, just running their own, and a couple more retirements to add to the list. Miguel San Mateo, Paulie Allen and Marco Felix, Rafael Sebasti. So only 24 cars left running, and Adam Rainey is last on track on the medium, so I think he might be able to go to the end, potentially? Not 100% sure, but he might be. But we'll find out a bit later, because we do know that the tyre wear isn't that heavy here, and we know that the mediums can easily go to the end, do a fair majority of the race here in the Academy. That'll be the interesting one. A bit further down the order, though, a little fight brewing for 7th place. Indrek Remits, Matthew Tusen and Milan Retovic. Those guys are getting relatively close to each other. They've sort of been, you know, accordioning slightly as we go through. But they're definitely able to keep that, you know, keep that momentum up, keep that time game. And yet, no, that was definitely a lag from all of us there, Felix, so don't worry. But meanwhile, Voznica still, he's just not able to close up to the back of Sux. So Sux is just managing this gap nicely. And whether Jan is fuel saving or, you know, just relaxing the tyres of it, that is what, you know, would be, you know, the major one, because he is following him every inch of this track. So I definitely have a feeling that that ISMRS car is following that Netrex as close as possible, just to prioritise that strategy for later on. Because we know Jan uses his tyres up a lot, so being able to save them as much as he can is always a bit of a positive there. Meanwhile, in the background, Danny Robbins having a little look at Ballas Galliard coming down the start-finish straight. The DRS wide open for the Royal Blue. And through goes the Royal Blue into the braking zone of turn 1. The soft tyre running Danny Robbins, overtaking the medium tyre running Ballas Galliard.
Straightforward move there, but obviously you still need to be able to brake in time. With the DRS, the top speed increases by about 10 kilometers. If you brake at the same braking marker you would brake normally, you would perhaps go a bit late into the corner, maybe go straight even. Always difficult to cope with, obviously, the softer tire for the Royal Blue driver. So should be a straightforward move, and also now be easy for him to pull away from Ballas Galliard.
Just something I want to note as well. If we look at, just looking at the front again, I got this pointed out to me by Cameron, who sat there on the sidelines, being a lovely observer for us and just helping with the ID and such.
I think
the top speed
might try something.
No,
sorry.
No, he's backing out of it. He knows that with what he's doing at the moment, this is working into his favour. He's got Zoltzuks, who's got such a high top speed, 350 kilometers an hour on his own, has Zoltzuks. So all Jan's got to do is sit there in that slipstream, and they are going to pull away from Rafeld behind. And you can look at this. You can tell that Item Race car's not set up for the straights, can't you, Felix? Because Lombertz is already on the back of Rietveld.
Yeah, Lombertz closing in rapidly. Now, Kels Rietveld needs to start thinking about what he's going to do. Perhaps a strategic call is also a possibility here for Kas to make a bit of an early stop. Try to get ahead of the problem.
But if he can get ahead of Kels Rietveld, that's going to help him out in that championship as well. We know this race is crucial for Lombertz to stay in this title fight. So if he can get ahead of him, that's going to be points gained, and that's going to be a potential for him to be still in this championship hunt. Otherwise, we're going to Singapore with it being 2 left, and the 2 teammates, as Lombertz is in on lap 9, and in comes his teammate Wilson. They're going to double stack. Oh, and I think Wilson might get a penalty there, because that was very locked up on the entry to the pit lane, Felix.
Yeah. It's very close. Obviously, the pit entry here in Monza is extremely quick. You have to brake from almost 250 kilometers an hour up to, I think it's 80 here in the pit lane. So definitely a hard braking and easy to make a mistake, as we've seen certain drivers do over the time, also in FSR, hitting the brakes too hard, too late. Even somebody flying into the tire wall on the left, so you need to be careful entering this pit lane. We
saw it a few years ago in Real Formula 1 2015 when Roberto Marianamana nearly went into the back of Kimi Raikkonen, just misjudging how slow the Ferrari was and, locking those tyres up. Well, at least he didn't need them at that point, but, those guys, Wilson and Lombertz, come out on the medium tyres. They're going to go to the end, obviously. Anyone who pits now is going to be going to the end if they go on to the mediums. So anyone who pushes longer is going to look to go on to softs to the end. But I don't feel it's really worth it at the moment. But top 2 stay out. Rietveld responds to Wilson and Lombertz, and that was very close to being over the pit limit. Pit limit there as Rietveld stops in his box. We'll go on to a set of the medium tyres. Henry Sinnick comes and joins him in the pit lane and goes on to the soft tyres, Felix. Now, that's the first alternate strategy we've seen all day.
Yeah. Still 22 laps to go. It's a bold call.
Hold on a minute. Now, Kels Rietveld comes out of the pit lane. He's going to be drag racing with Andrzej Borotowski into turn 1. And this could be crucial because it means that Lombertz, who is not that far behind, will be right with him. They get out, obviously, ahead of Henry Sinnick. But Rietveld has got Tom Lombertz, and, well, he's smoke screening Tom Lombertz, I should say. But he has got the Netrex of Borotowski, who is on the medium tyres, remember? Now, if I remember, he started on them, so Andrzej is going to go for a long time yet. And Wilson is having a look at the back of Henry Sinnick. Now, obviously, Wilson a lot closer to Sinnick than he was before the stops, and, both drivers make a mistake, but yes, Kels Rietveld to the inside of Borotowski! And that is going to be close indeed. They thankfully get out of it. And that's going to be Lambert's trying to find a way. They're going to be side by side through the second Lesmo. That's not going to work. That's going to allow Lambert side by side. They both have the DRS. Who's going to be in the slipstream? It's going to be Kaz Rietveld. Rietveld going to push Lambert as far to the outside as he can, because he knows that Lambert is going to have to sit behind Borodovsky. Borodovsky half-heartedly defends. And it's going to allow Rietveld to be held up. And it's going to allow Lambert to have an insane run on the exit of Ascari. Has to back out of it because there's no room to go on the left. But they have got Henry Cynic and Michael Wilson, who's gone off. Wilson's gone off somewhere. Lambert's into the back of Borodovsky. And there's Cynic on the outside. Where the hell is Michael Wilson in all of this? Wilson's out. So Wilson's had a big accident somewhere, but Lambert's is side by side. This is crucial for the championship, remember, ladies and gentlemen. They are side by side. They both have a DRS. Borodovsky trying to have a look at Kaz Rietveld. He goes to the inside in the net race. The net race with extremely high top speed into turn 1. He's going to get Rietveld. He's going to go across the chicane. He's got to give that place back. That was gained unfairly. Lambert's and Cynic side by side, though. Borodovsky lets Rietveld go. He might have a look going into the second variante chicane. But Tom Lambert's looks to the inside of Cynic. Is not going to work through Curva Grande. He might want to have a look to the inside of the variante chicane. Rietveld has got a gap on Borodovsky, though. And Lambert's on the grass on the outside of the variante. He's going to have to go straight on, rejoin the track. And he's going to drop behind Cynic. He's going to drop behind Karchvich. So he's going to drop down to 13th place. This race not going well for him at all.
Yeah, Tom a bit impatient every time, trying to go for the gaps on the outside or the inside that are really not quite there. Really what he should have done is just wait a little bit and then on the straights try to get alongside and then make the move instead of trying to get something done in the braking or under the acceleration.
Oh, something interesting as well, Felix. Zux and Woznica are in. Zux has come out in P5 and Woznica is on the medians, whereas Zux is on the soft tyres. This is going to be close on the exit of the pit lane because Jan releases the pit limiter. Off he goes. He is going to be coming side by side to turn 1 with Zux. But no, Zux is going to get through. He might actually get passed by Danny Robbins as well. He is going to get passed by Danny Robbins as well. Meanwhile, Ballas Galliard goes to the inside of Van Elpham and Borodovsky and Cynic are side by side. Oh, there's almost contact there as Tom Lamberts gets past Jakub Karchevich. And now Lamberts has got to get past both Borodovsky and Cynic once again. You can see Milan Rajovic, he's made a pit stop as well. So is Matthew Tucson. These guys all out of place in terms of the pit stop cycle at the moment because a lot of people running alternate strategies. Meanwhile, Cynic has a look behind Borodovsky. He's going to lock up and Lamberts into the back of him. And over the curb he goes. Karchevich does the same. He's going to drop a place to Indrek Remitz and Milan Rajovic. Tucson not going to get by though. But this is what happens at Monza. You get your braking slightly wrong. You're into the back of someone pretty quickly.
Yeah, Lamberts is just a bit too impatient at the moment. Trying to gain too much under the brakes. Too aggressive on the brakes. Where you really have to be careful and make sure you get a good exit. The entry doesn't matter so much because you know that the driver in front of him is very slow in the corners. Borodovsky with the old medium tyres.
And he's just proven that as well because Cynic got very loose on the exit. This slipstreaming train is going well. There's Cynic. They're going to potentially go through him. Oh no, too wide into the final corner of Parabolica. Cynic to the outside. The grip is not going to be there because the car's going to run out wide. Lambert's going to be in that slipstream. Going to have the DRS. And you've got Indrek Remitz, Milan Rajovic and Jakub Karchevich there as well. Lambert's with the DRS and the slipstream and the boost. It's going to push that Go Speed car. He has to back out because he gets squeezed by both cars. And Rajovic dives to the inside of Galliard. Very last minute indeed. Oh, sorry, not Galliard. That's Remitz. Tucson is there as well. You can see him squirming about in the background. But these guys all fighting for P8. And half of these guys haven't even stopped yet. But there we go. Cynic darts to the left. He's on the soft tyres. He's wearing those soft tyres out. He's going to go to the side of the variante chicane. This is potentially going to open a slot for Lamberts to look through on the exit. Borodovsky gets a slow exit. Lambert's not able to capitalise, although he's going to be to the outside of the first Lesmo. It's going to allow Remitz to close back up, though, because Borodovsky is extremely slow on those old mediums at the moment. To come through the second Lesmo, Lambert's is just trying to find a way through. He doesn't want to lose time, but he's got to be patient. The DRS will open. The boost will activate for the go speed. Lamberts is on the outside. That's going to be an easy move done if he can get it late on the brakes, which he can. Borodovsky gets out of the way of his teammate. He's on the grass. He's across. And he's going to come on. He's going to spin in front of Matthew Tucson. He's in the barrier. Loses his front wing. Thankfully, he doesn't rejoin into his teammate, George Chantapantelis, but he's going to rejoin and have Ados almost going to the back of him. Roy van Genderen has to get out of the way, and I'm going to try and pronounce that properly while speaking at 300 million miles an hour, which is always going to be an interesting one. But at the moment, Everything seemingly has calmed down for about 5 seconds, but it won't do for long because the top speed of Inject Remix is going to be insanely high with the DRS. Because here we go again. The top speed of that Netrex darts to the left. He's going to be on the outside. Can he get it late on the brakes? Yes, he can. And he's going to get the car turned in as well. So he's going to get past Tom Lomberts into the first chicane. And Milan Rakovic, he's actually stopped as well. So this is for position between him and Lomberts. Same with Tucson when Tucson gets near. So these guys all fighting for position at the moment. And Lomberts trying to find every which way past Remix, but Tom Lomberts goes wide. Rakovic gets loose as well. Will allow those two to get very, very close indeed again. And oh, the understeer from Milan Rakovic is just painstaking to watch there. And Lomberts going to have a bit of work to do to get back to the rear end of Indirect Remix, although at the front, Voznica is still on the back of Zoltz, who, well, as much as Cameron was saying it was slower to have that lower downforce setup, it's working out in Sux's favour at the moment, but it might not be for long. No DRS for Sux, DRS for Voznica as they come down towards turn 1. Meanwhile, Danny Robbins is in the pit lane, so he's going to drop back. Balascadiar has got Kaz Rietveld behind it. The slipstream, the boost, and the mixture for Kaz Rietveld. He's going to dive to the inside of the Netrex. He's going to make that move work nice and clean. The Dutchman gets through, the title leader, showing why he is the title leader, just showing how brave he can be in that up. Yeah. And now we can take a small bit of a breather, Felix.
Yeah, for now. Milan Rakovic is still close to Tom Lomberts and Indirect Remix, of course. Let's see what he's able to do. He managed to stay clear a bit of that whole shenanigans just a while ago. So perhaps his tires will be spared a little bit more than, for example, compared to Tom Lomberts, who has been pushing very hard on those tires behind Andrei Boratovsky just a bit ago. And definitely will be paying the price of that in the later parts of this stint. Let's see what Rajkovic will be able to do coming out of Ascari. It's a bit too far back. Not a great Ascari there for him.
I don't think anything's going to be done there, Felix. They're just not close enough at this moment in time. Meanwhile, Tommy Ilitalo and Eduard Batalla both staying out at the moment. They're actually doing a really great job on those medium tyres, keeping that pace up, actually running a pretty decent pace compared to the effective race leaders at the moment. So definitely nothing to be disappointed about for those guys. Meanwhile, Roy van Genderen, I will get it right eventually. Hendon, thank you, Felix, has now got no front wing. So he's going to have to come in and make a stop. Meanwhile, Thomas Lentz gets into the point for Breslin. Good to see Thomas Lentz back in the car. I haven't seen him race for the majority of the season that I've been broadcasting. So good to see him back in the car. Meanwhile, Indirect Remix has now got a bit of a train behind him, forming of Lomberts, Rakovic, and Matthew Dusons. But that will be sort of decided a bit later on. And Jan Vosika definitely visibly closer as they go down the back straight. Meanwhile, Eduard Patala, for some reasons, on the inside of the circuit. But Vosika pulls out, maybe got some temperature problems in that car, having just to pull out, let the car cool down, but he's got a better line and a better run through the Parabolica. It might be the run indeed, Felix. They come down the start-finish straight, but DRS will fly open, and that ISMRS car, that's got some top speed under it. He gets pushed right to the inside. Stux doing all he can to defend. He's got the ISMRS on his inside, and through will go the Polishman of Jan Vosnika. Beautiful move. Beautifully opportunistic, saw that Sux had a slow exit and made the most of it, but Sux with that higher top speed, with that DRS, is going to go to the outside, he's going to pull a Sebastian Vettel on Jan Vosnika, dives to the inside, he might not make it though, no, Vosnika drifting the car into the very anti-chicane there, but not going to work there. And these guys, once they've been fighting, they're closing up on the back of Batalla and Yelitalo, so those guys might want to come into the pits sometime soon, but obviously they've still got to do a long time on those tyres. And meanwhile, Lomberts has actually gotten past Remit, but has gotten on the gravel, so he's now going to have to defend into the first Lesmo. They're not going to be side by side just yet, but they are going to be very close, especially when the DRS comes active. Rakovic, very close indeed as well. as they come out of the second Lesmo. I have a feeling that might be a decent run for Milan, but Remit's not got a shabby run out of there either as they come through into Ascari. No change being made there just yet, but Voznica is gapping Zux a long margin at the moment, and well, with those two still staying out, he might get some DRS off them in the near future. But then again, we have to look back because Rakovic is having a look at Remitz. That could be a run for Rakovic because Remit's got a slow, never mind, because that car, the rear end snapping on the back of that Isomaris car through Parabolica. And Susan is sat there helpless at the moment, but the DRS will fly open for the both of those two. Down the front straight they'll go into turn 1, and Rakovic looks to the inside, not going to make a move, seeing that Lombert's there. No point going for a do or die move this early on into the race. You've got a long amount of laps to do on those tyres. You don't want to burn them up early on into the stint, because that will just be absolutely detrimental to absolutely everything. But he looks closer than he is on the spectate cameras, I can guarantee that, because I thought he was going to have a dive to the inside of the second Variante, but not to be. Comes down towards the Lesmos. This is the closest fight on track at the moment, excluding obviously the fight up the front, but that's more just for bragging. Right, says Voznica, never mind, because Voznica gets a very slow exit out of the Ascari chicane because he went extremely wide, so it's going to allow Suggs to close up slightly. Rietveld is slowly closing in on those guys, I feel, or that, or he's holding it stagnant, and Galliaro is just not able to hold a candle. Rakovic getting very close to the back of Remitz, so they'll be having to go into turn 1 most likely. But still, your leader is Tommy Yelitalo. Royal Blue doing a great job so far. I believe that's Alex Hallows coming out of the pits, or is that Isaac Morris? One of the two. I'm not sure which one it is. Actually. Yeah, Isaac Morris. So he's had some sort of problem if he is only coming out the pits now. The Englishman who impressed on debut for Invictus, not having the greatest of races here at Monza. Doesn't particularly like the track though. And meanwhile, everything's sort of calming itself down nicely at the moment. Oh, is Alex Hallows into the barrier? No front wing, no rear wing. I've just seen that happen in the background as I was scrolling through the film. I'm just going to have a look at what's happened. We've got a bit of time to, you know, look back. Comes through the second Lesmo, lights the rear up on the curb, and bang into the barrier he goes out of this race. So 22 cars left running, the last of those being Isaac Morris. Meanwhile, Jan Volstiger is on the back of Edouard Patala, so this would be for second place now. And I realise I've been speaking so much, Felix, haven't I? You had a word in edgeways.
Well, I'm just chilling out here, just trying to focus on Voznica as he's trying to get past this car in front of him. Edouard Batala, of course, on a completely different strategy, still needs to pit, hasn't done so yet. As we see Tommy Yelitalo coming in. Now, surely Voznica will be able to make this move. Actually, top speed of the TCS off driver.
Oh no, he's going to dive to the inside. That was brave. But he's going to check him up. So here comes Zolt Sux. So this three-way fight for the lead being caused by Edouard Patala, who I will say is doing an absolutely stellar job at the moment in the TCS off car, has now caused the effective race lead to come under threat because Sux goes to the outside. Voztica has to come back across onto the racing line to get the car turned in. It's going to slow him up on the exit of the Variante. These guys are going to be very, very close indeed. Come through the first Lesmo. That Netrex has no corner grip at all in the dirty air. It just shows how low the wings are on that car. And now Voztica will get the DRS coming and following Batala down towards Ascari. They will go. Just not enough top speed. We know that TCS off car has got very low wings indeed. They've sort of employing the Netrex strategy of downforce here today. And one that I say is very much seemingly able to work for them. But meanwhile, Voztica pulls very far to the inside, maybe thinking that Sux was there, but he wasn't. But coming into Parabolica, he needs to get a good run. He doesn't want that car to snap. Batala goes to the right, indicating that he's going to come into the pit lane, which he does. So relinquishes the race lead to these two, but that's going to mean that Jan Voztica has the DRS, but it's not going to have any slipstream. So here comes Sux to the outside of the first corner. And they're going to be side-by-side on the brakes. And Sux is going to get the move done. He's going to be extremely tight. He's going to run wide. He's going to allow Voztica through. And all this is doing is allowing Rietveld to close up. But that's going to be game, set, and match for now for Jan Voznica. And meanwhile, Lomberts has gotten past Remitz, but Rakovic still hasn't gotten past. the NetRex. Tucson still hasn't gotten past the Ice and Rest car either. Galliard is coming out of the pits on the Ultras behind Danny Robbins. Batalla on the Ultras out in 10th and out way behind Yelitalo, who's in 9th on Ultras, who's not far behind Tucson. So a very good result could be on the way for Tommy Yelitalo for Royal Blue indeed. But meanwhile, this fight for the lead is still as close as ever. And we know with the downforce that Ice and Rest car has compared to the NetRex, it could go either way. And that's Isaac Morris in the background, getting very loose, and Kaz Riedfeld running very wide indeed. But this is where it's crucial for Zolt to get a run. If he can get a run, of which that NetRex looks so planted coming through Parabolica, if he can get a run and have the DRS coming towards turn 1, which he does, boost it up and run as high mix as you can, you will close up to the back of that Ice and Rest car in no time at all. And you can see him do that under braking, under braking alone. But, you know, a bit further down, we have a fight for 12th going on. That's between Ballas Galliard, Thomas Lentz, and Danover Brenton. These three guys, you know, fight for the lower end of the points, but definitely points indeed. We'll see what these guys can do coming through Parabolica. All on different strategies, of course. But Galliard going to slowly pull away because of the fact he's on those Ultras. DRS for the two cars behind. Not going to allow him to close up, though, Felix.
Yeah, the NetRex once again showing that it's got extremely high top speed without any toe DRS or anything. Thomas Lentz there very loose on the exit of the first chicane. Now has to watch out for Branton behind him. Going to the inside of the Secunda Variante. And they're getting past Thomas Lentz rather easily. Thomas perhaps having a bit of problems with his rear tires. Starting to lose the grip. 9 laps to go still, so needs to watch out.
Got to keep it consistent and not get involved in anything. Meanwhile, Tommy Elitalo, I said he's got a chance for a good finish. He has got a lot of speed over Matthew Tucson, who's on those mediums that he's been on for so long. Tucson with no DRS either. That Royal Blue is looking very tasty in a straight line, Felix, and he's going to get closer and closer. And with the grip through the corners that he's going to have over the Invictus, I think the points are going to just start slipping away for Tucson, and they're going to start coming into the hands of Royal Blue and Edouard Battalla eventually when he gets there. But Yelitalo getting closer through Curva Grande, getting closer into the second Variante. And just look, Tucson having to run it so much wider through there. And Yelitalo looking so much closer. They come through the first Lesmo. Get carefully on that curb into the second Lesmo. Brake as late as you dare. And here we go. This is what's going to be the deciding move. Here comes Yelitalo. He's got the DRS. He's got the engine mix. He's got the engine boost. And of course, he's got the higher top speed on those softer tyres to the inside of Ascari. Oh, not much room, but that's the nature of Ascari. He's going to get through. Beautiful move by Tommy Yelitalo.
Yeah, great bit of racing. Also, the room being given by Matthew Tucson, obviously. Now Matt on the outside. This will be difficult. Parabolica is not a corner where you want to lose a lot of time, because Edouard Battalla right behind him with the higher top speed is going to fly past. I think maybe even both of them coming here into turn 1. Where's he going to go in between?
Three wide into turn 1. And if Battalla makes this move, that is going to be beautiful. They're going to hook. Battalla's still inside. Can he get the power down? If he can get the power down, he'll make 2 moves in 2 corners, Felix. And, well, he's not got the top speed there, but he's going to definitely have it coming towards a Variante. As they come out of the Curva Grande, he's going to go to the outside. Tucson giving him as little room as he dares, but he's going to run a bit wider and a bit tighter. Yelitalo's there as well, trying to make a move. Tommy Yelitalo, cool and calm-headed. We know this. We've seen this before in his moves. Very calm and calculated, but definitely one of those smarter drivers of the field, not going for stupid moves. But Tucson, without DRS, Battalla and Yelitalo with the DRS. Can they get anywhere close? No, but they'll probably wait until the front straight when they know it's smarter to go through. That's the mistake that Tucson made, but it paid off just due to the fact that Battalla made it 3 wide, which I am so impressed that they made that work without problem, because that was absolutely beautiful to see. 3 wide into the first corner, and all of them coming out alive, and maybe with a slight bit of damage, but nothing that's going to affect this race. And here we go again, down the start, finish straight. Battalla with the DRS, Yelitalo with the DRS. Both of them with slipstream and boost, but they're not able to get close enough to that Invictus at the moment. Meanwhile, John Lomberts is back on the back of Henry Cynic. Lomberts on the harder compound tyre compared to Cynic. They're going to be trying to make the move as soon as possible. Meanwhile, though, Battalla getting very close to the back of Tucson into the second Barrianti. And Tucson's going to get a very slow exit indeed, but he's not going to lose any time, although Yelitalo has a look to the outside of Battalla. Just, you know, just sniffing there. But we're going to have to keep sort of flicking
on
between...
the inside. In the inside, Yelitalo. Oof. Second Lesmo is not a corner where you want to go side by side with. Now the exit is important. DRS for both of them, of course. So it's a bit of a battle of the top speeds. Tucson, because these two drivers are battling, managing to pull away a slight gap. But the question is obviously for how long. He's got the medium tires, the drivers behind him still on those ultra softs, of course, but they will be wearing out.
Meanwhile, further up front, Tom Lomberts on the DRS of Henry Cynic. He's getting closer, closer, closer. He's going to maybe have a dive. He's going to have a dive to the outside of the Drillers, who breaks extremely early into turn 1. He's going to hold the place, though, is Henry Cynic, but Lomberts is definitely quicker at this phase of the race. He's got Remits and Rakovic not far behind, so obviously pulling away from those guys and getting onto the back of Henry Cynic. He needs this 4th place, but it won't be enough to keep that title fight alive, I don't believe. I think Cameron could potentially do the maths for me and just tell me and work that one out for me. But at the moment for these two, this is hypercritical of who finishes ahead, especially in terms of Lomberts, because he's not far behind Reed on the grand scheme of things. But again, he'll have the DRS coming down towards Ascari on the boost as well, most likely. Trying to keep himself as close to the back of that Driller's motorcar as he can. Both these guys been driving amazing for the entirety of the time they've been racing this season. They've got a back marker ahead. I believe that is De Hendren, which it is. So these guys potentially might get slipstream off of him into turn 1, depending on how slow he is out of Parabolica, which looks to be pretty slow indeed. Lombert's not really getting a run out of the final corner though, which is the problem. But DRS for the go speed with the boost and the top speed. Cynic just does what he needs to do, stays in the middle, and Lombert's just not able to make anything work. And again, the same is said between Tucson, Battalla and Yelitalo. No one able to really, you know, make a difference at the moment. But as we stand as well, the title lead would be 16 points between Jan and Kaz. The gap between... and I believe, is there 3 races to go after this one, Felix? Oh, 4.
Yeah.
4 races, sorry. So 100 points left in this race. So still potential for Tom to stay in this title fight, but it's going to be extremely hard. It'll be 75.5 points to Kaz Rietfeld at this rate. So realistically, I don't think he'll be able to do it if he finishes where he is at the moment, or it be a monumental mountain to climb. But these guys have got traffic in front of them. This is going to make it even harder for Lomberts to get through, because the DRS is going to be with Cynic. Although Van der Hende gets out of the way. Will he get out of the way before the DRS line? Yes, he will. That's going to mean that Cynic doesn't have DRS. Oh, he does actually have DRS. But that is going to be a very smoking Tom Lomberts. So he's going to be to the inside, side by side. The harder compound tyre Lomberts look to the inside of turn 1. Cynic trying to hold that place. And he's going to keep it. But he's going to get a worse exit. Lomberts is going to be pushing as hard as he can. That engine is smoking though. Maybe using too much boost. Tom needs to be careful with how much he uses at the moment. Going to go to the outside. He can't use any more engine boost though. That was very, very close indeed. But as Cameron says to me, too much engine boost. The engine's going to blow. The title fight might be completely over for Lamberts at this rate if he's not careful with his boost. Come out of the Lesmo, down the back straight towards Ascari. The top three are in a world of their own, so this is the fight that we need to be focusing on for the rest of this race. We're on lap 29, nearly lap 30 of 32. So almost 3 laps to go. And down out of Ascari towards Parabolica. And can Lamberts keep that car alive? But I think he might just need to sit back, let that engine cool down.
Yeah, it's been smoking pretty much for a full lap now. I think, well, from what I know, if an engine smokes that long, this is not gonna be very good for the engine, obviously.
We saw it at Silverstone. I remember with Zolt Sux actually. Just that engine smoking, and gone on that with like 2 laps to go. Well, it's 3 laps to go now. So, Tom, you've got to somehow save that engine as best you can, mate. And he might be able to do it, he might not, but this could be the one that changes everything. In the meantime, Tucson has been passed by Batalla, so Yelitalo is now closing on the back of him. But it's not ideal for the Invictus guys, but it's definitely not ideal for Lamberts, whose engine has gone. It has gone with 3 laps to go. Out of the second Lesmo. He pulls to the right at the exit of the second Lesmo. The engine cuts off. He retires to the pit lane. And that is the title hopes of the Belgian gone for this year. Such an impressive drive all year, but it's just not worked out for him. That just eases the pressure off everyone. That means it's down to 2 in this title fight now, realistically. So, Jan versus Cass. Points is going to be close indeed. 97.5 points behind at this rate. If Cass can get past Zolt Sux, it will be game over. But it is basically impossible now. So, we're down to 2 now, Felix. Jan Vosnica and Cass Riedveld. 2 rookies of Formula Sim Racing fighting for the Academy Championship.
Yeah, this is always great to see. They are teammates, obviously, as well. So, inner team battles always are a bit more spicy sometimes. Especially if you're fighting for that title. So far, Cass has been doing a great job, but let's see if he can finish it off. Tommy Litalo is also still very close to Matthew Tucson in 8th position. Let's see what he will be able to do coming to Ascari. Tucson able to stick with Batalla so far. Also still has the DRS consequently. But Litalo seems to be very quick through the corners. Let's see if he will be able to make a move. Perhaps on the main straight after Parabolica.
Well, they'll have 2 laps to go when they cross the line. Time is running out for Yelitalo to get by. Obviously, they're all going to remain 9th and 8th at the moment because of that retirement for Lamberts. But the DRS is going to fly open for Yelitalo. The DRS is going to fly open for Tucson. But Yelitalo has that. I was going to say high top speed, but it's not going to work. But he's going to go to the outside of turn 1. Not going to have the room, and he's going to be tight to the inside, so he's going to lose out to Tucson. That might just be giving Tucson the break he needs, but Vosnica, he has got 1 lap to go
this is
when
the
he
last
crosses
lap,
the line.
actually. So,
Oh, yeah, it is. I take this back. So, Vosnica, who has driven, I've got to say, a flawless race today. Sat behind Sux when he needed to and pounced in the pit lane, and then that fight between them and Batalla, that is what gave him that win. But he's going to do it. He's going to close that lead in the title down to 16 points. And Jan Vosnica will win the Italian Grand Prix here at Monza. Zolt Sux will get his best finish of the year in 2nd place for Netrex. 3rd place is going to be the title leader, Cass Riedveld, coming across the line. 4th place will go to Henry Sinnick. An amazing job by him. 5th is going to be Remits. Again, more points for Netrex in the title. and they will come across the line with Rakovic in 6th place, with Batalla in 7th, Tucson in 8th, and Yelitalo in 9th. Beautiful finish for Tucson again, finishing inside that top 10. Yelitalo making the strategy work. Danny Robbins 10th for Royal Blue as well. Galliard 11th from what was a very poor qualifying position. So great job by Ballas Galliard to finish where he did. 12th is going to be Dan Ove Brantham, so more points for the NRWO. Jakub Karjovic 13th. 14th is going to be Thomas Lentz getting his points in this race for Breslin. 15th is going to be Batalla getting points alongside his brother for TCS off. 16th is going to be Adam Rainey just outside of the points after issues early on. 17th will be George Chatapantalis. 18th, Anton Skerichenko. And 19th, Roy Van Hendren.
Yeah. Great job by all of these drivers. 19 of them that were able to get to the finish line at least. As we see a bit of a train forming behind Jan Bosnica and Kaz Rietveld, as they are basically racing to the pit lane at the moment. Interesting to see here with the iSim RS drivers. The networks of both Indrek Remates and his teammate behind that also getting back to the pit lane. Yeah, great race. Obviously, Bosnica closing in that gap to Kaz Rietveld. This will be an interesting next few races, as there's a roadblock here by the iSimRS drivers.
That has pretty much been a sum up of the season, a iSimRS roadblock, Felix. Dominant driving this year by those guys, and you know, as much as the third one there, Milan Rakovic, hasn't always been up the front, he has done an absolutely outstanding job to just be that backstop for that team. They will pull up in underneath the podium here at Monza and do the donuts, the synchronized donuts. Although they need to work on that synchronicity a bit, as two of them nearly hit the barrier.
Put it in reverse, guys. Yeah, it's going very smoothly. Oh boy, yeah.
Oh no, this is going to end in a crash.
They need to work a little bit on that, because when they get the championship, we are expecting better than this. Anyway, it's been a great race, like we said. Rietveld under pressure from his teammate now, really starting to close in with 4 races to go. He needs to make sure he gets those points, can't make any mistakes now. But let's see in the next race, which will be in 2 weeks' time at Singapore, if I'm not mistaken.
2 weeks' time at Singapore, where we will race under the lights of the Marina Bay circuit. A beautiful circuit, one of my personal favourites, and oh boy, I can't wait to be back there after another year. And you know, tonight we have some more races for you, lovely ladies and lovely gentlemen, because we have in about an hour's time the pro race. I was about to say the Ace Champ. I was like, is it pro or is it Ace? I can't remember which.
Pro.
But the pro race here from the Italian circuit of Monza, and then after that we will have the big one, the World Championship. That title lead, Jene Simončić has got it pretty much in the bag already. He could win it here tonight, as far as I'm aware. So make sure you tune in to cheer on Martin Gosby in stopping him from doing such a thing. But of course, that is it from us here. That is it from us here in the Academy Championship at the Autodromo Nazionale Monza. I've been Alex Skinner. Alongside me has been my ever faithful Felix van Delft on the cameras as well, doing double duties for me today. And well, from all of us here at Formula Sim Racing, we will see you soon, and you'll race the best.
Hey man, I got that new TMX Thrustmaster wheel. It's going down.
Xbox One?
I can't wait to play when I get home.
Yo, let me play.
Yeah, I mean, after I play first. Yeah.
I'll race it for it.
So I have to hand you.